Welcome to the 3 and 4 Need More awareness tour across the United States. I'm Dr. Marion, and I have been working in the field of elder care for over 40 years. In that time, I have seen what catastrophic situations can arise when people are not prepared. Yet, most people do not think about these scenarios until a caregiving situation hits them, and then it's usually too late. These issues can be avoided, but we need to plan ahead. Noah built the ark before the storm. That's why I'm traveling across the country in my bus Nellie for 9 weeks, talking to elder care experts, long-term care health professionals, caregivers, speaking on television and on radio, at universities, and public lectures about the necessities and the possibilities that we have to take long-term care planning into our own hands, making sure that we can spend our senior years in peace. Long-term care planning is not only an individual issue and a family issue, it is an issue for society as a whole. We are living longer lives than ever before, and with the baby boomer generation getting to the retirement age, there is a geriatric tsunami heading our way that is unprecedented in human history. In this episode, I'm visiting Washington, D.C. to talk to the politicians about these issues and how they plan to meet the enormous challenges that lie ahead of us. My first appointment was with Congressman Wally Herger of California. Unfortunately, we were not able to film while we were having our conversation, so I will have to tell you what we talked about. I just had a wonderful interview with Congressman Wally Herger. He was very straightforward and listened very intently. We talked about elder care issues, caregiving issues, long-term care insurance, reverse mortgage, how we can help the population that is going to have some very serious problems. We talked a lot about his own experience with having his grandmother live in his home, and he had these wonderful stories and got to know his grandparents and their history and therefore his life history. And since we just don't have that kind of family situations anymore. And his comment was we have to go back to old-fashioned values, old-fashioned family values. The bottom line is the government is trying to bail itself out of some very serious financial issues right now, and long-term health issues is certainly one of the issues that needs to be addressed along with all the other issues. I found him very receptive, open to suggestion, and he was very gracious and thanked me for coming. He gave me a great deal of time, and I really appreciated that. The next day I had a meeting with Jonathan Weston. He is the Health Policy Director of the Jewish Federations of North America, a very intelligent man with deep insights, not only into the healthcare systems, but also into the mechanisms of Washington politics. We all know there's a geriatric tsunami heading this way, but people don't understand how it's going to impact them individually, their families, their communities, and our government. This government cannot sustain taking care of everyone, but yet there is that concept that the government's going to handhold them and walk them through the nursing home and pay for all of the needs in the future, and that's not going to happen. So how do we get to people and have them understand the reality of what's happening now and give them some long-term perspective?
These issues with the debt ceiling, which really has gripped the nation. It's all over the press right now as we talk in mid-July. I think it's going to change things. I think that more Americans are going to realize what's at stake, and not just, you know, the old or the vulnerable. It's going to be the nation's economy. It's going to be our full faith and credit across the globe. That's really what we're coming to. And right now, as we speak in 2011, this is the first year of the boomer going on Medicare. The first year. So where is Medicare going to be 18 years from now, in 2029, when every boomer across the country, those born between 1946 and 64, have reached the age of 65? Where's the Medicaid program going to be in the next 18 years? We all know it's not a Republican statement or a Democratic statement, that the government can only do so much, that our tax dollars can only do so much. So I would hope that we can see some more incentives for the government to give to the private sector to move things forward. If we gave Americans the incentives to purchase long-term care insurance plans and have that premium fully deducted on their taxes, we felt that would be awfully productive. We tried advocating for that when there was a Democratic president and a Republican Congress, to no effect. When there was a Republican president and a Democratic Congress, to no effect. When there was a Republican in the White House and a Republican Congress, to no effect. And unfortunately, I think it was a failure of our political leadership of both parties not to take that type of an initiative to try and grow LTCI products. But again, if we could have some type of a wraparound plan with long-term care insurance companies, I think that would be the best of both worlds. It's got to be workable, and certainly there has got to be some adaptions so that it is amenable to long-term care insurers. But that's going to go a long way to educating Americans about this problem. And what you're doing on the web, what you're doing with different videos and social media is crucial. We need to also figure out different ways that this can be a conversation not between 3 and 4 and the American person, the American people, but at the American dinner table on Sunday evenings, where people can discuss these things in a more quiet setting. Because this is not just an individual issue or a financial issue, this is a family issue. And I'm hoping that one day it will be, 0 and 4 need more.
That would be great.
Wouldn't that be great?
I think
great. So.
I'm sitting here thinking, how can we clone you so that you can come along on the bus and just speak to all of these people out there who need this information so desperately?
Well, I'd be happy to help any way I can, because if we don't do this now, there's going to be major implications for this country in the long term. And I'm so grateful that we have people like you out there educating folks, and we all need to do our part. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep on trucking, or keep on bussing, I guess, right? Keep on bussing.
I like that.
This is John Weston, and 3 and 4 need more.
3 and 4 need more. 3 and 4 need more. 3 and 4 need more. 3 and 4 need more. 3 and 4 need more. 3 and 4 need more.
We're in the Dirksen building, and we're going to be seeing Senator Wyden. And I have my 3 and 4 brochure all ready and handy to hand to him. I had almost an hour conversation with Senator Wyden and his 2 aides. Again, we could not film or record, but that's standard operating procedure. It was exciting beyond words. We discussed things, all the things that were on my agenda. They took the 3 and 4 campaign brochure. They're trying to figure out how to get this information out to the general public, because they know reverse mortgage needs to be simplified. They know long-term care insurance is a way for some people to help themselves. They want to get to a younger generation. So all of that is on their agenda. They just don't know how to utilize it, and they don't know how to get to people so that people not just have the information, but that they act on the information. And they also gave me like the highest compliment there. And I can't talk about it on camera, but they're going to be sending me some pieces of paper, and they want me to look them over to help them with one of the action programs that they are thinking about. And I can't talk about it on camera beyond that, other than I'm super excited about it, and it's quite an honor to be asked.
The bottom line is that the government cannot take over all of the universal health issues that are out there, and it's up to the individual to take on some of these responsibilities, such as taking on long-term care insurance, so that they understand that their individual insurance and Medicare are not going to fill the bill. We have to go back to some old-fashioned family values and take care of our own, but ask the government to give us tax incentives so that we can get long-term care insurance, and have the government simplify forms so that it's not as complicated to get a reverse mortgage or get any of the social services that one can apply for.
What's important at this point is that the politicians realize how big the challenges are that we are facing individually and collectively, and that they stop playing political power games on Capitol Hill and instead work together towards solutions. And so we dedicate this episode to the emerging of common sense, together with a man we very surprisingly encountered during our visit to Washington, D.C., His Holiness the Dalai Lama, who was there to promote world peace.
Whatever it is, you get some virtues, dedicate for entire humanity here. Improve more their common sense. Usually, you see, we are not much using our common sense. That's the problem. That's the problem. And usually I half joke, half serious. There's some authoritarian regime sort of leaders in their brain, some part of human brain which usually develop common sense. Some of these sort of authoritarian hardliners, that part of brain is missing. So we should train and dedicate to that part of brain eventually increase. That's important.
If we use our common sense and apply it to our personal lives and the issues of elder care, we will realize that aging happens to all of us and that we will not be the exception. So we better prepare for it.
The first thing is we shall have to accept the old age and old age related pains and sufferings with a natural feeling and without much complaint. Without accepting this, you cannot remove the old age because it is inevitable. Instead of fighting with it, you shall have to compromise with it and having a more positive attitude to accept this, and that will reduce your pain.
So exercise this common sense right now. Take a few moments. Look into your own future. Assess your situation both physically and financially and make a plan. Go to our website, www.3in4needmore.com. There you will find information, resources, and tools that will help you start planning for your golden years.